Ah, Mario Maker, one of the finest games ever created. And can you believe it's already been 3 years since the game launched on the 10th of September 2015. And what better way to celebrate this than to review the history of this game. A story about a loving community, insane courses, and pushing the game to its absolute limits. This is Catster, and I present to you the history of Mario Maker. Our story begins in the distant past on the 23rd September of 1889, when Nintendo was founded in Kyoto, Japan. At first, Nintendo sold Hanafuda playing cards and had great success doing so. In 1969, they also began producing other toys such as the Ultra Hand, but those things aren't why we love Nintendo. No, it's all about the video games, which Nintendo started making in the early 70s. After first making some arcade games, they eventually made the TV color game 6. Following that were a few variations of it. In 1981, Nintendo created possibly their most important game, Donkey Kong. The game was about a carpenter trying to rescue his girlfriend from a gorilla called Donkey Kong. The carpenter later got his own game in 1983 with Mario Bros. After that, Nintendo kinda turned away from making arcade games and instead focused on their first attempt at making a home video game console, which we today know as the NES. One of its launch titles was a platformer named Super Mario Bros. The game was revolutionary for its time, having a total of 32 levels, 8 different worlds, power-ups, and a timeless soundtrack. You see, back then a fluidly scrolling screen was unheard of, since before it usually games would play out on a single screen map or would only move along by entirely stopping the game. That, alongside many other reasons, is why the game exploded in popularity, selling a total of 40 million copies, which was the world record for most sold video game by a large margin at the time. From there on, Nintendo kept releasing new games very frequently, and would continue its legacy as the biggest company in the gaming industry with many successful consoles such as the Wii, DS, SNES, and Nintendo 64. Time went on until we reached the year 2014. At this point, their newest console, the Wii U, wasn't doing very well, and it only had a few good games, such as Super Mario 3D World, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and Mario Kart 8. And 2015 was gonna be the 30th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Series, and everyone was excited to see what Nintendo had in store for us. In June of 2014, once again the annual video game fair known as the E3 came, and along with it, new trailers and game announcements. One of those was for a game called Mario Maker. It got people all around the globe hyped for it, including me. Wasn't it every Mario fan's dream to be able to create their very own Mario level? In late 2014 and early 2015, we got a lot of new information for the game, and the fans sort of had an idea of what the game was gonna be like. And in E3 of 2015, 1 year after the initial announcement, we finally got a release date. The 10th of September it was gonna be. Alongside that, the name was now called Super Mario Maker, and when the game did finally come out, it instantly became one of the most played games from YouTubers and streamers alike. Famous YouTubers like the Game Grumps and Markiplier started playing the game and everyone was hooked. However, there was a big problem in the game itself. You see, all of these people carefully decided what level they want to play. When players played the game normally, you wouldn't really do that. Instead, what you got was 100 Mario Challenge, a mode filled with horrible levels, not well thought out, and thus big YouTubers started making videos about how the game sucked. It looked like the game was just gonna die due to it being filled with garbage and automatic levels. Was this the end of Mario Maker though? And it very well might have been the case if it weren't for Team Grind. Carl Sagan42, a former speedrunner who was known for playing Yoshi's Island at multiple GDQs, started playing Mario Maker shortly after the game came out. And since he had much fun playing the game, he got who is now known as the god of Mario Maker to play the game. Pangaea Panga. The concept of making Mario levels was nothing new to Panga, because the story of making Mario levels did not actually start in 2015, it started way earlier. Before Nintendo decided to make Mario Maker, there was already a community around user-created Mario levels in the form of SMW ROM hacks. In 2005, the website SMW Central was created, which was a place for people to create SMW ROM hacks and to discuss everything around them and creating them. Creating SMW ROM hacks was very popular at the time, and so amongst other people, Takemoto creates a really difficult ROM hack for his friend Arkiba, which he called Kaizo Mario World. Kaizo means rearranged in Japanese. This ROM hack got a lot of attention from video series on YouTube, and thus the golden age of Kaizo began. In the following years, a lot of similar ROM hacks were created. One of these new Kaizo creators was Panga, who made Super Dram World, the Glitch Abuse series, and Item Abuse 1 through 3, out of which the third one took Panga 3 years to create and clear, and is to this date considered the hardest SMW ROM hack. Anyways, let's move forward a bit to when Carl suggested Panga to play the game Mario Maker. Panga immediately got to work and started playing around with the Kaizo tricks that were known at the time. Panga started making super difficult levels in the first 8 days of the game, and a lot of non-Kaizo players started getting interested in these hard levels. Even some popular personalities started playing them, like the Game Grumps. Panga eventually made perhaps the most famous level in Mario Maker, called simply P-Break. For the time the level was released, its difficulty was unlike anything we had seen before. It took Panga himself a whole 9 hours to upload it. This level inspired a whole generation to start playing Kaizo. Panga also got a lot of popularity after releasing the level, and even made it into one of the Fine Brothers videos. Remember that Carl guy I mentioned earlier? Well, he decided to make an even harder level himself, in the form of Mr. Carl's Wild Ride, which took him a whole 32 hours to beat, and it still has a 0.01% clear rate, unlike P-Break. Don't know what I mean by that? Well, Nintendo made it so next to the thumbnail of a level you can see the clear rate. Pretty much everything above 5% is easy peasy. Under 1% is maybe casual Kaizo difficulty, under 0.1% is hard Kaizo, and under 0.03% is ultra hard Kaizo. Only the hardest levels back then had a 0.01% clear rate, which means that out of every about 10,000 attempts, there is only one single clear. But creating a hard level was not the only thing that Carl did around this time. When in real life someone wants to learn the world, they go to the college of what I'd like to call the College of Life. But where do SMM players go when they want to learn Kaizo tricks? That is the question that Carl asked himself, and thus he decided to open the Kaizo College, and with it its first lesson, P All You Can P, on the 10th of October. In the following month, people like the Beast721, Grand Pooh Bear, Decaf, and Yatta Guy would start beating P-Break. However, Panga was not satisfied yet, since 41 players had beaten P-Break at the end of October, which was too much for him. So he got back to work and unleashed his inner demon in the form of U-Break. P-Break was child's play compared to U-Break, which I can say from personal experience, because I have since beaten both of those levels, and I definitely recommend everyone trying out these levels. Remember how I said that it took Panga a whole 9 hours to beat P-Break? Think that is a long time? Well, think again, because it took Panga 39 hours to beat it on his Twitch stream.
Cause I just got a donation. Come and show me what you were. Make me go oh, 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 as I think you are my stream.
The level was pure insanity at the time, and the last trick was something, as far as I know, had never been seen before. The mid-air shell jump. Alright, so remember how I said that for a shell jump to work, you need a wall that it can bounce off of? That's not entirely true, because by jumping in the air, then turning left, and at the peak of your jump, throwing the shell and turning back to the right, on the very next frame, you can make the shell go under you. Mario Maker runs at 60 frames a second, so that means that this trick has to be executed perfectly to the 60th of a second. Nowadays this trick is very easy to do, and there are people who can do up to 50 in a row, but when this was new, it was absolutely insane. So on the 3rd of November, history was made. Panga had finally beaten U-Break. And in his victory speech, he says the following.
I guess I can say this to the person, to the people that will beat this, because I know for a fact people will eventually beat this. I hope you spend at least 40 hours on this, and I hope you at least beat this the intended way.
What did Panga mean by intended way? Well, in the SMM dictionary there is something known as cheese. Ever since Panga started making these levels, people started figuring out ways around doing the hard tricks. Doing this is called cheating a level. Well, let's see if people do beat it in the intended way.
Oh shit. Panga's gonna be pissed.
You hacked up, Panger. And once again, people started beating even U-Break. While the Kaizo community was having a blast in late 2015, the newbies were complaining that Nintendo left out a lot of important Mario items, such as checkpoints. And thus Nintendo did something unthinkable and listened to the fans, and released the first update on the 1st of November, which included checkpoints, progressive power-ups, a more challenging version of Knot Attack, official courses, and even event courses. Up until this point, Panga was undoubtedly the one who made the hardest levels, and it seemed like it was gonna stay this way for a long time, and it very well might have, if it weren't for a Japanese broadcaster named Bab. On the 17th of November, he uploads the video to his YouTube titled Super Mario Maker Impossible Level, Tricky Mario Belts Airspace. It left the whole community in awe, and Toad Rocks MK described this in the best way.
Now's airspace. In this level, you're basically spamming these buttons while holding the forward button most of the time. That's basically the best way to describe this level.
The before mentioned streamer Grand Pooh Bear was the first to beat it after an insane 100 hours. Why does it take so long, you ask? Normally it would be because the overall difficulty is very high, but in this specific case, it is because this level had probably the most difficult blast jump out of any Mario Maker level at the time. So much so that Grand Pooh Bear failed a total of 42 times on this jump. But he didn't give up a single time and kept streaming his attempts, which in my opinion is what Mario Maker is all about. And finally, his hard work paid off and he beat the level on the 21st of December.
Utah! Oh my god.
In mid-December, Nintendo also released the Mario Maker Bookmark site, which was a website on which you could log in with your Nintendo ID and bookmark levels which you could then play on your Wii U. This was really cool because prior to this update, you always had to type in the level ID of a level to play it. 2015 was close to ending and with it a great era of Mario Maker levels. Now, remember how I told you guys about the mid-air? Now go ahead and try it for yourself if you have Mario Maker, and you will come to realize that it is incredibly hard. Now, I want you guys to watch this. Ten mid-air shell jumps in a row. So that was 2015 in Mario Maker. It was a year that had a lot of jank, but also creativity, and it started the race for the hardest level ever made. So if you don't know what GDQ is, it's basically a speedrun marathon that runs twice a year with awesome games done quick and summer games done quick. And while yes, speedrunning Mario Maker was not a thing back then, so very talented players such as Grand Pooh Bear, Carl Sagan42, Pangea Panga, and Mitch Flowerpower, who was prior to playing SMM and SMB3 speedrunner, had made plans of what they could do at GDQ, which was a hard level race where they would race the many levels Panga had made and also some levels from other Kaizo creators. The race was really entertaining to watch and I definitely recommend everyone to check it out. Additionally, they also did a blind level race where other top Mario Maker players tried to beat easier levels which they had never seen before as fast as possible. It was incredible to see these levels which took these people many hours each to be all beaten in under half an hour. 2016 also started off with the next hardest level by Jordan, called Momentum Mori. Jordan had already created the hard level before this in the form of Time for a Tea Break, but Momentum Mori was way harder than that. You might also argue that the airspace was harder than Momentum Mori, but you can't deny that Momentum Mori took its creator longer to beat, 108 hours to be exact. Another level that was the hardest level worthy at the time was Outbreak by Saturn. However, you really could not say at the time which level was the hardest out of all of them. But that all would soon change. In the same way that Panga wasn't satisfied with P-Break, Val also wasn't satisfied with the airspace. And just like Panga, he started working on a harder level. We first got a glimpse of the level when he uploads the preview to his YouTube on the 23rd of January, and as soon as we heard that it was going to be harder than airspace, we got pretty hyped for it. Val started streaming his attempts on Twitch this time, and it was quite a struggle to say the least. But after 60 hours, 12 painful yachts and ice, meaning he died 12 times on the last jump, and 32,000 attempts, we got this attempt.
Okay.
The new king string of hard levels had been uploaded. The grinding streams of this level were in my opinion some of the best streams I've ever seen, and even though I wasn't there when he beat it, it was still awesome to see that he had kept going through all the painful deaths. Now you might have noticed that almost all of the hard levels that I have been showing this whole time were in the SMW game style. The reason for that is that back then people almost exclusively made SMW Kaizos and NSMBU levels got almost no love. But that all changed when Carl uploaded my favorite level of all time, Premature Detonation. The level is absolutely insane and very flashy. Additionally, the timer on that level is also pretty tight, which is now a common theme with NSMBU speedruns. With the Kaizo scene getting more and more insane, people could not really keep up anymore. Plus, people had realized that racing easy levels was super fun. And for those and many more reasons, the legendary weekly blind Kaizo races began. They proved to be really successful and are still going on to this very day, with many spin-offs like the Friday blind Kaizo races, which are harder than the Saturday ones, EU blind Kaizo races which run at Europe-friendly times, and the troll races, and many more. Finally, on the 9th of March, Nintendo released the second update, which brought in skewers, keys and key doors, red coins, super expert 100-man difficulty, and a change to the Bookmark site. Super Expert has kinda gotten a bad reputation over time for being an absolute garbage hole, but there are still many popular 100-man streamers on Twitch, like Sean and Arthur. This update looks great on the first look, right? Well, as it turns out, there's a dark side to this update, which probably was not even intentional. It is the P-switch physics. Before the update, you had a lot of time to jump off them, but after the update, it became really precise and frustrating. Honestly, to this day, I wish it wouldn't have happened, because since then, P-switches don't get used that often anymore, and that's a real shame, cause P-switch jumps used to be super fun. Around this time, a YouTuber named ToadRocksMK made a list called Top 10 Hardest Mario Maker Levels. Now the list was in no way perfect even at the time, but compared to some other lists, it was way more accurate. And after those levels you can't really tell anymore which level was the hardest at one point. So from here on out, I won't be reviewing the hardest level debate anymore. In mid-2016, a small streamer at the time starts the series called Fail's Flotilla, which is now a trilogy featuring really hard cape levels. The first level, called First Strike, was not incredibly special, however it was leading up to something way bigger, which I will talk about when the time is right. Around this time, Carl Sagan42's YouTube channel really started blowing up and went from 9,000 to 72,000 subscribers between the 25th of April to the 30th of August. And with that, Mario Maker started seeing a lot of attention again. Aside that, another Mario Maker YouTuber named Steve Gaming started getting a little more popular, and honestly the traction that he is getting is well deserved. What he basically does is try to come up with new and inventive designs ranging from don't run mechanics to RPG battle simulators to computer stuff that is above my IQ level. And with that, Mario Maker started nearing its first anniversary. So I kinda glossed over this, but in May of 2016, this level called Mario vs Mecha Bowzilla by Kiavik was blowing up and was by many considered the most creative level that had ever been made at the time. As it turns out, Kiavik had something up his sleeves for the 1-year anniversary. He got together the 30 best creators of Mario Maker and made them all make the best level that they could come up with. And all of these would be released one level per day for a month. I highly recommend you guys check those levels out, because they are some of the coolest levels that I've ever seen. In late 2016, a new type of levels emerged, the team levels. And the first one was, I believe, Team Pipe. Hashtag Team Pipe levels are hard Kaizo levels which have lots of pipes in them. At this point, Nintendo hadn't really done anything for Mario Maker in more than a year, and that is understandable honestly, since around that time the NX hype was real. But finally, on the 1st of September, we got a new direct for the 3DS, and it was the worst direct I've ever watched. Seriously, Nintendo, what was wrong with you while you made that direct? The direct basically slaughtered the Wii U. But hey, at least we can have fun on the go, right? Nope! Now allow me to show you my hatred against this game. First of all, you can't upload courses. What the heck, Nintendo? Wasn't the main drive to buy this game to create and upload your creations? But wait, at least you can play other people's courses, right? Yes, but you have absolutely no control over what courses you play, since you can't search for courses via their ID, nor can you bookmark courses to play in the game. In the end, it's a shame for mankind that this game even exists in our world. And around that time, the famous YouTube channel WatchMojo released a video called Top 10 Insane Mario Maker Levels. And as much as I despise WatchMojo, honestly the list was not too bad. So 2017 rolled around, and with it a new level from the infamous Val, called Tricky Mario the Eternal Space. And honestly, it was one of the coolest levels ever created at the time. I seriously don't know how a human can create such an insane level. Now, let's look back on the previous years of this game. 2015 was all about the race for the hardest level. 2016, on the other hand, was more about making just cool levels. But with 2017, the community returned to trying to make the hardest level ever. And one of the first new contenders was Shell Suit by Donkey Suit, which is about the same difficulty as the Eternal Space. So you guys probably remember Shell Space, the level that was considered the hardest level ever made. Now just imagine having to beat the level twice in a row without a single death in between. Sounds impossible, right? That is what most people, including me, thought at the time. But elite player Sambro You Don't Know, also known as Andrew MM, proved us all wrong. One of the interesting things about Mario Maker is that SMW ROM hacks inspired people to start playing Mario Maker levels. A lot of Mario Maker players like Novizo and unfortunately Panga moved away from SMM, but most YouTube commenters don't seem to get that. In early 2017, the community started working on a big project. SMM legend Carl Sagan42 led this project, but we would not know what this project was until summer. Turns out it was gonna be a full game inside Mario Maker, including 16 normal levels and 4 levels from a special world. Unlike most of the other levels that are made by top players, these levels had a pretty easy level of difficulty. So why was this made? Well, since Carl was a speedrunner before starting to play Mario Maker, he was starting to miss the appeal of speedrunning a game, but at the same time he also loved Mario Maker. So being the genius that he is, he combined those two things into one. Super Warp World. The game got launched with a 4-player blind race in which Archer, Grand Keys, Tri-Hacks, and High Five to Safety raced the first 16 levels. That alone was pretty exciting, but what if I told you that Mario Maker's hardest level at that point got uploaded only few days later? fucking did it! Yes! Oh! It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! It's over! Failstream had been trying to upload Final Flight since late 2016, and finally on the 30th of August, and after 480 plus hours of practice and upload attempts, he beat it. But that wasn't it yet. Just 14 days later, Mario Maker hit its second birthday, and once again Kiewicz celebrates that in the same way as the first one. It was a pretty hectic, exciting time to be in the community around that time, and the future of Mario Maker looked bright, but on the 7th of November, Miiverse was shut down. And with that, all story levels were ultimately killed. But not only did Miiverse get removed, but there were also some other minor physics changes, such as springs in lava acting the same way as springs outside of the lava. Mario Maker scientist Jaku theorized that Nintendo wanted to experiment a little bit with the physics for potentially Mario Maker 2. We can't be sure of that because Mario Maker 2 isn't a thing yet, but it might just be the case. Whatever may be the case, it was interesting to see how creative the community got with these minor changes. In late 2017, Carl decided to start playing more troll levels. And the troll level market blew up like never before, and viewer level streamers were not happy about it. But not only were troll levels blowing up, but also mid-airs, which I was not a fan of because I suck at doing mid-airs, and my record is a miserable 7. Team 0% was also created in late 2017, which is a team of people who want to complete all uncleared levels. As of now, Team 0% has almost beaten all 2015 levels. In retrospect, 2017 might just be the greatest Kaizo year. After those events, there really was not too much going on, well except for me starting to stream on Twitch. Which you should follow by the way, link in the description. Follow for Mario Maker streams, do it! And Mario Maker finally getting accepted into SGDQ. And now we are just here waiting for SMM2 to finally be announced for the Switch. Now there is one thing that I have not talked about yet, and that is Trails of Death. Whether you believe me or not, a player named Chainchomp Braden has been trying to upload a level called Trails of Death since December of 2015. He has over 2,000 hours on that level already, and it has been buffed many times since he initially created the level, and there is no doubt that once it is uploaded, it will be the hardest level. And that might happen any day at this point, since he has come really close to beating this level already. Mario Maker is and will probably always be my favorite game, and its legacy will probably live on forever. Granted, it took away over 1,000 hours of my life, but I would say that it was worth it, and honestly, the biggest problem that I have with Mario Maker is that I can't play other games anymore without wanting to play SMM again. In conclusion, I love Mario Maker and its community, and Nintendo, please make Mario Maker 2 already! Well, this was quite the journey, and if you've stuck with me till this point, you probably liked this video a lot. You might have even liked this as much as to consider liking and sharing this video to get the word around. And I also appreciate every new subscriber. I've been working on this video since August, and through the countless delays, I'm still super proud of the end product, and hopefully you liked it as well. Additionally, my new web show, Catster Presents, will be premiering in a month, so you should be hyped for that. And you can also click that bell to not miss any notifications from this channel. You can also follow my Twitter where you can see any news regarding me, and I also have a Twitch where you can watch me occasionally play Mario Maker. Until next time, friends. Hopefully not in 5 months.